Hello friends, welcome back to Sophisticakes by Mary. For today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this tri-colored stenciled cake and also how to make some chocolate disco balls. This was a cute idea my boss had. She loves disco balls and I am ready for spring, so I thought why not put the two together. Let's do some floral and some chocolate. Let's get right to it. First thing we need to do is get our cakes ready. What I do when I bake my cakes is I let them cool and then I wrap them in saran wrap. And I do pop them in the freezer, at least overnight, because what that does is that does actually bring moisture out of the cake. It's the opposite of what a lot of people will tell you. Refrigeration does dry out more if it's not covered with frosting, but freezer is fine as long as you have them sufficiently wrapped with saran wrap. Now I'm just leveling these all off to the same height. I just tuck my elbow into my side and turn the turntable. Just keep your hand in one place and let the turntable do the work for you. And then we're going to fill these with my American buttercream. Now you can add a thicker layer of filling if you choose. Somebody asked me recently why my cakes layers seem thicker and I have a thinner amount of buttercream in the filling. Really, that's a simple reason. It's because butter is expensive. I do like to make a thicker layer of buttercream or whatever filling I'm doing when I'm doing for an order. Since I don't necessarily make money off of these orders, besides my revenue from YouTube, I'm a little bit more shy with the buttercream. Add more. I highly recommend doing that. And then I put that in the refrigerator to chill while I made my chocolate decorations. And I'm just using dark chocolate candy melts. And I wanted to try a little experiment. I wanted to make these look like disco balls, and these are my faceted ornament chocolate molds. And I thought, well, you know what? It looks like a disco ball. If you cut the little, the toggle off the top of it, you've got a disco ball, right? So I wanted to experiment with the color. This time I just added a little bit of luster dust and some Everclear and brushed it on two of those. And you'll see that you could already see there that it didn't get a lot of full coverage. And that's okay, because I have a backup plan if these experiments don't work. That's why two of these I just left regular chocolate, because I plan on doing just my regular dusting method on those. And once these have chilled in the refrigerator and they are cool, you can take them right out of these molds. They're wonderful. I'll try to link that mold in the description box. And this time I am brushing it with the silver and Everclear mixture. But I'm also adding some disco dust. Some silver rainbow disco dust. I thought I would try that and see if that gets a better coverage. And it did work better. Here I am just dusting it in there. It did work better. Kind of better. What I did notice, and you will see too, that it had a better silver coverage, but it the disco dust distracted from the facets. So I do end up going back and just doing my regular luster dust covering the way I normally do. But first we're going to just go ahead and use an X-Acto knife and just kind of score those tops off before. You don't put too much pressure on it. You want to score them slowly, otherwise you could take a chance of cracking the rest of your shell. I'm just going to call it a shell, your chocolate shell. And here you see the ones that have the disco dust on them. They are shiny, more than the luster dust and Everclear plain by itself, but you just can't see those facets as well. And we need to get these two halves stuck together. So I'm just using my skillet on this little range top on a low heat. And I'm just melting the very edges and sticking them together. If you have extra chocolate that squeezes out the sides, just use your finger to smooth that down. And this is what I would normally do. Lesson learned, tried an experiment, go back to what I normally do. Just dust that silver luster dust right on your chocolate, because you don't need anything else. You do not need a luster or an Everclear or a vodka or a lemon extract to get a nice silver finish. I mean, of course, if you do mix it with one of those 3 liquids, you're going to get maybe a shinier appearance, but it's also going to take more coats. It's going to take quite a bit longer to do, and I think that method, just dry brushing it on there, works just as well. Just use a fluffy brush. Now we're doing our final coat of buttercream. I just went with straight white this time. I feel like I've done a lot of colors lately, so this time I wanted to do a straight white buttercream. And I do end up leaving that top edge more not finished, just kind of ragged. I think it adds an extra texture to the cake. And this is the stencil that I'm using. Now this stencil almost wraps around the entire thing. And I just used some masking tape to stick the 2 pieces together, but I found that it wanted to come loose. So I do go back in and I add some little pins in a little bit here. But this is how you get the tricolor. I want to go with the color of the flowers that I have as my inspiration. So I'm just using buttercream in the purple and then in an avocado color. And I'm doing the flowers in purple that I want purple, scraping them down first, and then go back over and add your mixed colors. Now I did clean my spatula in between using the green and the purple, because you can see on that one that it was a little bit muddy. So I just decided to go ahead and just scrape it down, get the extra purple off before I did the green. And I find if you just do the separate colors, individually, and then scrape them off as you go, that you get a better final look. You're not dealing with a bunch of built-up buttercream. And this cake had been in the freezer for a good half hour before I did this. So that's why it's nice and firm, and it buys you a little time, but you do want to get your stenciling done before it starts to get condensation. Otherwise, the stencil would be hard to get off. And then I just added white to what was left on the stencil that didn't have buttercream on it already. Smooth it off, remove your pins, and gently remove your stencil. Look how pretty that is. It's actually very easy to do. I think a key is your consistency of your buttercream. It needs to be more of a peanut butter consistency. If it's too thick, it's going to be hard to scrape it off. If it's too thin, it's going to want to sneak underneath your stencil. So right in between there. And then I'm just adding some random dragées. The purple, the bigger ones, are actually, what are they called? They're little chocolate candies. Can't remember the name right now. But then I filled in with some, the purple and the white, I used some bigger ones. And then I'm just using regular dragées, 2 different sizes of dragées, to fill in besides those larger ones. And I'm just dipping my finger in water and then sticking them in the dragées and then transferring them onto the cake that way. Just make sure that your hands are clean and dry. And then I'm add a little buttercream to stick the flowers in. Now, to make this completely food safe for an order, you might want to stick a straw in there before you stick your stems in, or wrap them in floral tape, or you can do a combination of both. There are different, very vastly different opinions on ways to do this. I find that floral tape is just fine because it has always worked for me, but other people will tell you that you need to do something more food safe, quote unquote food safe, by using straws. Use your best judgment, or go by your local laws if they state otherwise. I'm just arranging these in on off angle to the side design. My favorite, as you know. I need to venture out and do some different floral arrangements. I know I need to do that. I'll work on that. And all of these are attached with the buttercream. Now, I did use a combination of, these smaller ones that are shinier, they are actually ornaments that we had from an order that we had this Christmas time at the bakery. We had some left over, and I just cut the string off the top and used those as part of the decoration. And then I fill in with the larger chocolate ones. Again, adding them with just a little buttercream. I did stick a toothpick in there to hold that top one on the edge there. You can't see it, but it's there. And if you do end up doing that, just make sure that you communicate that with your customer wherever you have inedible decorations. And obviously I would tell them that the floral is artificial also. So there you go, guys. Pretty little disco ball cake with some silk flowers and a tricolor stenciling. I hope you learned from something from it, something that you can use. And I hope you enjoyed the video. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my video. And if you'd like to watch some other videos, go ahead and click on the link to one of these other videos shown here. And if you would like to check out my other social media, I am on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Sophisticakes by Mary. And please take the time to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload another video. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next tutorial.